helps. Recommended, if you can't afford it and you got finances real tight, always start at least $25,000 per person, $50,000 per accident. You would be so shocked how little of a difference the price makes between the 25 and the 50. Okay? And then most commonly, the insurance guy's going to have this half typed up by the time you say it, because the second you say 25, 50, it pops in his head 25,000 property damage. Sure, you can go down to 10,000, but that's so inexpensive to change. Now I drive like a normal person now. I had 0 tickets on my license, perfectly clean, because you start to realize that affects what you pay. And I would rather be a safe driver and not pay an extra $100 a month than to have fun and race my car and then get all these tickets. Anyways, bodily injury is actually not required in Florida. The only thing that you have to carry is property damage, PD, okay, and PIP, and that stands for personal. They're driving 35 in a 55, and it creates chaos. When you're driving slow and this guy's trying to get to work, he's 15 minutes late. He didn't want to pay the $5 fee to get on the highway that you got to pay for. So those are some of the reasons. Florida, biggest thing to take away. Florida is the #1 fraud state in the nation, or one of the #1 fraud states in the nation. Now, I believe they're #1. Lots of fraud, lots of false claims. If you ever hear on the radio. The thing about Florida with Florida is those people that live in those counties down south is the fraud that some of them are creating. Now, I'm not saying everybody from Miami is fraud and they're cheating and everything like that. There's some great people down there. The state's broken up into zip codes. So this zip code has this many claims. With this, each company rates a zip code. State Farm, they know that this zip code has this claim, this zip code has this much fraud, this code has this. What a lot of people, those prices to go up, because now if I hit you and I don't have insurance, I'm gone. See you guys. Good luck. Hope you got good insurance, because I can't afford it. I couldn't pay it. I'm driving illegally. I took off. Or you're just in that scenario where you just bought the car, you didn't realize you didn't have insurance, or your insurance lapsed because your credit card expired. Whatever the case is, it went bye-bye. Okay, you don't have insurance. That is a huge thing in insurance. It's so big of an issue in Florida right now that one thing a lot of people don't understand, the state is tied to the insurance companies. They communicate. You're with Geico and your insurance lapsed. Hey, they've got insurance. Okay, we'll give them 30 days. 30 days later, no insurance. Send them a letter to save you money. Once you've gotten it established in a place, get a couple bills in your name, or at least have your parents put your bills on your name, and then just contribute to that part. Then you can go back to that company 6 months from now, or however long it is, and then show them the proof of residency. Don't get discouraged when you run into something like that. That's for protection for your normal insurance person, or for your normal person in Florida. That's some of the reasons that they're high, but I wanted to cover, and I'm sure you clicked on this video, quote these. Always quote with the uninsured motorist, but keep in the back of your mind, this might double the rate that they quote you. When the guy comes back and says, it's $3,000 for 6 months, would you like to pay it in full? You're like, click. No, don't hang up the phone. Say, well, how much is it without the uninsured motorist? That alone, sometimes I've seen it as low as $10. Okay, but I've seen it as high as $300, $400. That coverage alone, after 911, call 411. They're just collecting on so many claims. There's so much fraud, so much payout that it's forcing the prices to go up. What do I mean by that? It's not just that type of fraud. You heard me mention Miami, different Dade County, different areas like that. The problem is these guys realize that they're paying twice as much. That specific county, Florida's broken up into zip codes. So that specific county of Florida is actually double. You're in a legal battle, it's kind of annoying. Always carry bodily injury. Always carry bodily injury, just to be safe. If you're in the situation where you can't carry it at all, you don't have the funds, it's just not there. It's called basic insurance, or I believe it's standard and basic is what they offer. So the basic insurance for Florida is no bodily injury. You have to have property damage, you have to have PIP. Property damage is going to cover $10,000 or more if you choose to do no insurance, uninsured motorist, or they have less insurance than you. Okay, they're carrying the state minimums, but you want to make sure you're protected just in case something like that happens. So you want to have underinsured motorist. That's going to pay you the difference between what you're carrying and what the other person is carrying as well. For example, underinsured motorist, we'll go into that. I hit sister, I have insurance. They didn't have insurance, what do you want us to do? We're not here to cover that scenario unless you buy uninsured motorist. Medical insurance in the case that the person that hits you has no insurance. Underinsured motorist. When you're getting into the coverage that I'm going to mention later, which is your higher limits, the 100, 300, 250, 500, we'll go over that. You're going to want to have protection in case somebody hits you that has either happened in New York and New Jersey. Those are states where they do a lot of the zip codes are all messed up and they, prices are higher everywhere. What that does is it's kind of running a background check. You'll notice when most companies you talk to, they'll say, we'll run a consumer report. They're basically checking to see if you live where you live. If you don't, you guys are used to something called proof of residency. And that's something you do when you move, when you have to get like proof. I have a cable bill. I have this bill. Most people that don't have the extra income do $25,000 a person, $50,000 per accident for bodily injury. Property damage, which covers the car. So I hit my sister's car, it's her property. I damaged it. I'm going to cover up to $25,000. So if she's got a Hyundai, I'm pretty sure I'm covered that. A Hyundai Sonata. If you get this quote back and you said, okay, I got my bodily injury, I got my property damage, I've got my personal faster paced driving, and that's the way Florida is. That's a big reason the rates are higher than normal. Right now, according to the National Insurance Crime Bureau, I'm just going to hold this up and read it. According to the National Insurance Crime Bureau, Florida accounts for around 20% of all accidents that are staged, so fraud, okay, in the U.S., whereas 5 main metro areas are ranked among the top 10 cities facing auto insurance losses. These are West Palm Beach, Miami, Orlando, Haley, in Tampa, Florida. One of the main reasons, not just the crazy driving and everybody going everywhere, the fraud and all that stuff, but one of the other main reasons Florida is so expensive for insurance, retirees. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to put you guys down, I know, but most of the accidents in Florida are people that are $20,000 per accident. I don't want to tell you this, but because this could hurt you in the end. That's not required in Florida, okay? You do not have to carry bodily injury. It's just not required. You get to a spot where you don't have the funds and you just gotta drive, you gotta get to work. I understand. I had 2 speeding tickets and I was a little dragster kid when I was 18 or 16. I used to race between schools and all that. And I just didn't make good decisions. The price of Orlando. You're going to pay $2,700 a year on average in Miami, where you're going to pay about $1,200 or $1,000 a year for insurance, depending on the coverages, in Orlando or the northern regions of Florida. Biggest thing, takeaway, it's not that expensive if you're in different states like Michigan, Detroit. Oh my goodness, that's the highest one, $10,000 a year. Yeah, think about that. Personal injury protection. I'll put protect. Bodily injury is if you injure somebody. If I hit your car, or let's just say I'm driving down the road and I run into my sister. She's driving down the road, boom. I hit her by accident. Oops, I'm sorry. She's hurt. She goes to the doctor. She says, oh, it's a broken arm. I broke my arm. I just bumped it hard. That's bodily injury. If you don't carry that, you're going to get the minimum, my minimum, $10,000 per person, $20,000 per accident. Arm's broken. It's $15,000. It's a beautiful cast. It's got sparkly stuff all over it. Okay? So the medical bill is now $15,000. I only have $10,000 per person. That's one person. So I've maxed out. I got $5,000 left. I'm still responsible to pay that $5,000, but she needs medical attention now. She's got to have. If you don't know me, I've been in insurance last 5.5, 6 years. I am licensed in 30 some odd states. I don't know exactly how many anymore. Lost track. I'll look it up for one of our videos here. Really knowledgeable insurance. I sell insurance in Florida, Michigan, New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Maryland. I mean, just you name it. I know most of the guidelines. It's a lot to remember up here, but a lot of them are very similar. However, Florida is a lot different. I want to go over a little bit of the history of why Florida is the averages as high as you can with meeting your means of income. Keep in mind, like we said, the insurance rates in Florida are going to be higher than normal. So these are just your basic coverages. There's a lot more stuff that you can carry. Let's go into the PIP a little bit. Personal injury protection. What PIP is, it covers 80% of your medical up to $10,000. However, if you're someone that doesn't have a lot of medical and you want more than that, most companies will not cover it. However, if she has insurance, the PIP, the PIP over here, okay, that will pay 80% of her medical up to $10,000. That's the most common one. If she has insurance, sure, her insurance is probably going to pay it, but they're still going to come after you and say, hey, we just had to pay this $10,000. We want you to pay us back. Okay, we paid 80%, so you owe us $4 or $5 grand or whatever the cost was. So now injury protection, which you have to carry, it doesn't matter what you do, it comes with it. It's required by the state. So I've got bodily injury, property damage, I've got my PIP, I'm good. Okay, how much is my bill going to be when you call the insurance guy? Oh, he said it's going to be $75 a month. That's not bad, I can afford that. Now think in your mind, is that enough coverage? How do you determine how much coverage you need? The easiest way to think about it is you always want the insurance company to look better video to watch the recommendations. What type of insurance does Florida require and what type of insurance should you get? I see a lot of stuff online where people say, oh, the minimums, they're $10,000 per person, $20,000 per accident. What does that mean? $10,000, it's called bodily injury. Okay, if you haven't watched my Insurance 101, if you don't know what bodily injury is, go watch my Insurance 101 video. So BI limits, it's $10,000 per person, then you. My income is here. Let's say I make $50,000 a year. That's pretty decent. I don't own a home. I'm renting a house. I've got my car paid off, so that's an asset. I don't have to make payments, although it's a liability in the finance world. But to me, it's an asset because I don't own anything on it, and I could sell it tomorrow for $10,000. If you cause an accident, and let's say my sister's driving more bodily injury, if you injure them, they're hurt. Same scenario. My sister, I ran her car, her broken arm, it's $5,000. Okay, my bodily injury, if I do even the state minimum, is $10,000 per person. So if her friend was in the car with her and she had the same scenario, or broken arm too, so it's $10,000 per person in that car, up to a maximum of $20,000. 1020 is what they call it. Okay, that's what most online things or most people say is the statement. You have until this time to get insurance or we're revoking your license. That's how big of an issue it is in Florida without having insurance. How do you protect yourself against something like that? You've got uninsured motorist, UM, and underinsured motorist, UIM. Okay, uninsured motorist means you're protecting yourself against the guy that has no insurance because Florida does have a high risk. The smart insurance companies are going to require you to carry a lot of information. So you're going to have to approve a cable bill and a electric bill at the same time. And it has to be in your name at this address, perfectly matched in this square little box, or we don't touch it. Okay, you're going to notice that with them. So if you're new to insurance, if you're a young driver, if that LexisNexis pops up and you don't have any bills, you just got to move on. There's nothing you can do at that point. Don't get mad at the company. They're actually trying the way it is. A lot of people in Florida are noticing their rates are really high. Or if you're new, you don't realize that the rates are high because you haven't ever seen the other rates. Florida is ranked in the top 10 for the highest insurance rates in the nation. If I'm not mistaken, by the time I'm doing this video, it's in the top 5. And there's a few reasons that it is. you can partially thank Miami, because Miami, Florida is one of the highest risks. They have very high-end cars, they have a lot of traffic, they also have a lot of theft. That is causing the rates to go up. And when you're saying you live in this state, in this area, and then you have a claim down here and it's, or fraud or something, it's just a natural thing. There's a higher payout in this specific area of Florida. So now you're saying you live up here, but you're filing claims down here, and you're causing everybody else's rates to go up. And that's what's happening. There is some really good news that a lot of companies have implemented a lot of different programs like LexisNexis, and that's something that started at $10,000. It's always going to be $10,000. As long as when you get hurt in that accident or when someone in your car gets hurt, it doesn't go above that $10,000. So medical, let's say I broke my thumb. Okay, it's going to cost me $4,000 to get a cast. Okay, $4,000 to get my thumb fixed. I can't work now. I was a professional texter. I don't know. I'm a professional game player. Okay, I can't play my games. It was just a mistake. He's got a broken arm. Now what? I gotta pull out the pocket. Here you go. If I don't have that, if I got my, two. Sorry, sister. Got $3. I don't know. You're gonna have to bill me. Okay, so now she's responsible for this bill, and I gotta pay her back. Well, her insurance is gonna touch her. She's like, oh, you don't have insurance? The park really sparkles. If she had underinsured motorist of $25,000 per person and $50,000 per accident, now she's covered for that extra $5,000 because it's not gonna max out until she hits the $25,000. I covered 10, her insurance covered 5, now it's a responsibility to come after me for the rest of it. Medium, pretty nice BMW, that's $30,000 car. I totaled it out. I've only got $25,000 property damage. So now where does the other $5,000 come from? It comes out of my pocket. I gotta pull out my wallet. The insurance companies just say, you gotta pay this. If she doesn't have the correct coverages to cover what I can't cover, guess who's coming after me? Sister. Or her insurance company, even worse, because they're used to doing that. They're going to take your money. Make sure that you try to get these covered. Could make or break it depending on the area that you live in. Uninsured motorists, what that does, let's say I hit my sister again. Boom. Crash. Broken arm. Okay? I don't have insurance. Crap. Sorry, sis. I'm gone. No, let's say I'm nice. Okay, I come out, it's like, sorry, sister, I hit you. Oh crap, my card expired. I haven't had insurance for 2 months. I didn't know. It just didn't happen. I never got the letter from the state. The communication wasn't there. It let you in writing. You have to purchase the first policy, and then in writing you can add, hey, I want to increase that PIP from $10,000 to $50,000. So you can actually bump that coverage up yourself. Personal injury protection, it'll pay 80% medical up to $10,000. There's different packages that you can purchase. It's work loss. These all come with it. But you can increase it. I believe the work loss is like $200 per week up to, X amount of weeks, as long as it doesn't max out that up. Unfortunately, that's a downfall. Not just that, you're saying, well, I don't live in Miami, I live in Orlando, or I live in, in Kissimmee. You can't tell that I've lived in Florida before. If you ever drive around Orlando, if you've never been to Florida, or if you're watching this video, most likely you live in Florida. But if you've ever been there, you guys are crazy. Your driving is nuts. I mean, it's not used specifically for Floridians. It's a lot of visitors. So if you're in Orlando, what people started to learn is, well, why don't I just pretend I live up here? Why am I paying insurance down here? I'm driving the same car. It's not that bad. I'll just tell him I live over here in Orlando. My buddy lives up here. I'll use his address. That became a huge issue with insurance because they're cheating the system. They're creating or committing fraud, insurance fraud. It doesn't feel like it because you're just like, it's not right. They shouldn't be charging me this much. But that's the thing. You chose to live in that area. A little bit of work loss. As long as that doesn't max out at that $10,000, you're good. Once it hits $10,000, it's gone. Okay? It's not a big coverage, but it's there to protect people. Florida is one of the highest insurance states that has uninsured motorists. It's got the most uninsured motorists. A lot of it's visitors, a lot of it's motorcyclists. At the time, if I'm not mistaken, you're not required to carry insurance on a motorcycle. You've got a lot of uninsured motorists. That's going to cost some. I used to live in Kissimmee, and I'll give you 2 real quick stories. I was driving down the road. I come up to a 4-way stop. I stopped. The other car came in, stopped. I went to go. He started blaring his horn, honking and flipping me off like, hey, what are you doing? I was like, I've been here for 5 seconds. I'm ready to go. So that's the type of driving. Other thing, if you're ever by like a mall there, you watch a light turn red and you see car, 3 cars go through the red light. It's crazy. A lot of it has to do with tourism. So that is causing a lot of the insurance rates to go up in Orlando and the Kissimmee and that central Florida area. Well, that doesn't help because Miami down here is having tons of claims, tons of fraud, and it's grown between those two. It's kind of branched off into the other state or the other areas. You got a lot of visitors coming for, Disney World and all that, and they don't know how to drive. They're not ready for the